Howdy folks, I'm easygoing, eyed brown, eagerly eyeing enjoyable endives.
I'm Amber.
And here are more enjoyable endives for us to eye. It looks like they were endives, but when we got up closer, they were just Reddit stories, and so not quite as tasty, but maybe tasty. Let's find out. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Calling Off My Wedding Because My Fiancé Refused to Have My Adopted Sister There? Throw away for obvious reasons, all fake names. I'm a 43-year-old male and I've been with my fiancée Judy, a 36-year-old female, for 3 years, and I proposed to her 3 months ago on our anniversary. We met through Tinder, I know, yikes, and hit it off straight away. We both love anime and Valorant, and we just really clicked. The best part is that she gets along incredibly well with my group of friends. My group consists of Izzy, a 41-year-old female, Daniel, a 43-year-old female, and my adopted sister Rachel, a 39-year-old female. And now, or then, I suppose, Judy. The gang and I meet up every 2 weeks on a Friday night for board games and dinner, and sometimes head to a bar for drinks. We're all pretty comfortable with each other, so these nights can get a little rowdy. On one particular night, 5 weeks ago, the group got to drinking and ended up chatting about our intimate lives back in our quote-unquote prime years. During this time, I casually mentioned something about Rachel and my relationship when we were in our 20s. This is where things went south. For some context, Rachel is my adopted sister, meaning that we have no blood connection. However, we grew up together, as she was adopted when she was only 3 months old. So we formed a close bond, and we ended up dating in our early 20s, 24 and 20. I know this is taboo, but we are technically not related. Rachel and I saw no issue with our relationship, although our parents did have concerns. Rachel was my first in many ways, and I remember these times fondly, though I know ultimately we weren't compatible. I've known this group of people since university, so they were all aware of Rachel and my relationship and accepted it for the most part. So when I brought this up, they weren't surprised. However, I never did tell my fiancé about my past with Rachel, as it never came up and she never asked. Rachel and I only dated for around 8 months, and it's been many years since then, and I'll admit that there will always be a special place for her in my heart, as she was my first love, but I only see her as a friend now. Well, when my fiancé heard my comment about Rachel and I, she first laughed it off, but soon she realized that I was serious and her tone shifted completely. She left early for that night, and when I came home, she was already asleep. We spoke about it the next day, and my fiancé said that she cannot believe that I was in an incestuous relationship, and that she was disgusted at both me and Rachel. Her and my sister used to get along so well, and this comment really shocked me. I asked what she meant and reminded her that Rachel and I are not related biologically, but she insisted that it was still wrong and I certainly shouldn't be friends with her. I said that she was being ridiculous and that Rachel is my sister after all, and I cannot be expected to cut ties with her basically because of a silly young relationship. But Judy ended up leaving that morning for her sister's place and ignored all of my messages and calls for the rest of the day. I woke up the next morning to a very sternly worded ultimatum from her. She essentially told me that she could get over my past with Rachel, but I had to cut her out of my life and the wedding. I was very hurt by reading this message. I couldn't believe that the woman that I was ready to spend the rest of my life with and committed to was being so controlling and unreasonable. I tried to call Judy, but she didn't pick up. So I sent her a message telling her to come collect her things from our place and we can sort out the specifics when we've both cooled off. But that the wedding was off. She didn't reply, but came home that evening with garbage bags and left with only a few words. I felt like I was being completely reasonable to cut Judy off. However, after telling some people at work, as well as Daniel and Izzy, they all think that I made a big mistake. Did I throw away my soulmate over nothing, or was this a reasonable reaction to her demanding request? All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, you can end a relationship for whatever reason, and it sounds like this relationship may have been doomed anyway, but I do not think you are being fair to Judy with the way you're reacting here. A lot of people have trouble with their partner remaining friends with past partners. And this is something, if you, it is widely recommended you not engage in relations with family members.
Even if they're adopted.
Even if they're adopted. For this kind of reason, because then you end up in an awkward situation where there's someone who you may see at family functions and stuff that you also had an intimate relationship with. I don't think there's anything unreasonable with Judy being upset with this revelation, especially because you did not disclose it to her. Because again, oftentimes in relationships, if someone is still friends with the past partner, they are expected to disclose that and be upfront. And if it's not disclosed up front, it feels like it was being hidden. You're already at the stage where like you're engaged and planning a wedding. She should have known this a long time ago and been able to make her decisions then.
Yeah, I mean, this is a difficult topic to bring up, and I can understand how it didn't get brought up. How long have they been dating for?
I don't remember.
Like, let me look that, see if there is 3 years.
3 years.
I mean, but 3 years is a long time to not bring something up like this.
Well,
And
especially when you're socializing with her every week.
yeah,
I would have felt maybe a little different if it was like once in a while family gatherings where you see each other in passing, but the fact that you're socializing with a past partner every single week and your current partner doesn't know that, or you know, like every 2 weeks, and your current partner doesn't know that, that feels a little icky.
well, and I mean, I think that OP has some valid points here, and in the respect that you can be friends with a past partner and there's nothing untoward about that, right? As long as you are not actually engaged in being intimate or anything like that. I mean, because some people, they have old relationships where they're still friends with their previous married partners, right? And they might have kids and stuff like that they co-parent and everything like that, and they act civil to each other and all those kinds of things. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Maybe they don't hang out as much as they used to or anything like that. But again, like, I do think it needs to be talked about at the very least with your current partner. And then, like, Judy didn't have 3 years to kind of reconcile this, right? She's just learned about it now, and it's a lot to take in, right? I mean, she probably has had her view of this whole relationship between OP and their sister really fundamentally shaken, and so it's not something that she's going to be able to just kind of like flip on the switch and be like fine with, especially if you're already, she kind of views this as a incestuous relationship. And in a lot of ways, she's right. It is an incestuous relationship in the respect that they are adopted siblings, right?
And were raised together.
And were raised together.
Not even like they were step siblings who met like, when they were already adults or something.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I think, especially the way OP like refers to her as, oh, she's my first love. She'll always have a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Like, this is someone he sees regularly, socializes with regularly. I can see why Judy would be concerned about this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not cutting her off completely is the right call, I can't say, but I can understand why she would give that kind of an ultimatum when she's been kept in the dark for so long about such a close relationship.
Yeah, it's a sticky situation. I understand where OP is coming from here. I think that the thing is, like, people at that age are going to make poor decisions. I mean, people do, right? And I mean, you can't really hold all decisions people have made in the past against them, especially, something like this. I think it's a sticky situation. I can understand why they would want their sister to continue being in their lives because they're a close friend of theirs. I can also understand why Judy would be like not very happy with the situation as it stands. So,
well, and like him throwing in anecdotes about them being intimate in like regular conversations also feels really off.
Yeah. Well, on one hand, he's like, "Oh, she's just my adopted sister," but on the other hand, he's like, "But she always has a special place for me."
And I
blah,
reflect
blah.
fondly on this time. She's my first love. It makes things very thorny, and I can see why Judy would be concerned about whether OP still harbors feelings for her.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for not wanting my boyfriend to give his female best friend a first dance at our wedding? Throwaway account. I'm a 27-year-old female and I recently got engaged to my boyfriend, a 29-year-old male, and we've started planning our wedding. Everything's been going pretty smoothly except for one thing, his best friend Tessa, a 27-year-old female. They've been close since high school. I've always known about her and I've tried really hard to be okay with a relationship. She's funny, smart, and I used to think we would actually be friends too. But she's made a lot of weird comments over the years, stuff like, "You're lucky to have him. I would have married him if we ever dated." Or, "I know more about him than anyone, even you." I've told my fiance that those things make me uncomfortable, but he always says that she's just joking and that I'm reading too much into it. Anyways, recently he told me he wants to have a first dance with her at our wedding, like a special best friend dance. He said that it's something that they used to joke about in high school, and she's already excited about it. I told him that it felt off to me, not because I don't like her, but because that moment is supposed to be meaningful, and following our dance with him slow dancing with another girl, especially one who said stuff like that, just feels weird. Honestly, it made me kind of feel small. He got defensive and said that I was being insecure and blowing it out of proportion. Now Tessa knows that I'm not okay with it, and apparently she's upset too. His mom told me that I should pick my battles and not make this a thing. But I don't know. It just feels like a line is being crossed. I want to feel chosen on that day, not like I'm competing for attention at my own wedding. Am I being dramatic? I feel like I'm going out of my mind. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I think you have legitimate concerns here. Because it does feel like there's this battle for attention. Knowing how Tessa feels about him, especially, like, it does feel kind of like it's like, two weddings in one. Oh, yeah, you're having your wedding, but then he's also doing the exact same thing with his best friend.
I mean, they could also exchange vows too,
Yeah,
like best
I
friend
know. Yeah,
vows,
best
right?
friend vows. Why not? Uh, and so I can definitely understand why OP is uncomfortable with this dynamic. And I would seriously, if I were OP, question this relationship because OP has brought up that these comments that Tessa has made her feel uncomfortable. And instead of talking to Tessa, he has just completely dismissed OP and like, she's just joking. Uh,
Or she's madly in love with him.
yeah, I think she's in love with him. I I think he probably knows it too and is just trying to like maybe. I mean, this is
I
pure.
mean, he might be completely obtuse to it.
He could be, but my guess is that he knows he doesn't feel the same way, but he does these things to make her feel like to keep her in his orbit. Because like again, I understand people dancing with their friends at weddings. That's very common, but usually it'd be like it wouldn't be like a one-on-one necessarily, like, or it would be a fast dance or something, but slow dancing with your best friend right after you slow dance with your wife feels like the optics of that aren't great.
No, it's not great. I really think that he needs to rethink the optics of this. And I think that Tessa, for as much as he says that she's not interested in him, is probably madly in love with him if I had to make a read of the situation. I mean, I know that we're getting OP's account of this, and we're going to, of course, have some kind of bias from OP, but I mean, it just feels like something that somebody says, like half joking type of thing, where she's like, "Oh, I would marry him if I could, if we dated," or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like at that point in time, she's literally admitting that if they had dated, she would have wanted to marry him.
Well, and like the way his mom is getting into this too. Like, first of all, why is
Hmm.
his mom butting into this in the first place?
Yeah.
But like the way she's telling Opie, pick your battles. This is an important battle to pick because if you don't pick it now, where else is she going to be? Is she going to be in the delivery room when you have your first kid?
Or is
Is she
she going to
going
be in the delivery room when she's having her first kid, but a special best friend kid?
to? Yeah, I mean, I don't see if this does not get resolved now. I do not see a relationship with this man where you are not sidelined.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that from here, their best course of action is go into couples therapy, talk about this. I think that OP should also get to the root of Tessa's feelings here and try to understand if Tessa is actually like madly in love with him or something like that, because I would be concerned about that. And these might be feelings that she is harboring and she's afraid to come out with. And I think OP would be afraid to get to the bottom of them as well, because then like what does that mean, and like does that mean the relationship that she's worked so hard on is now going to like be in question? It's a messy situation when you have a lovers triangle like this, right?
It is, but like again, I would seriously like rethink marrying this person if he cannot stand up for you
Yeah.
ever. If he is willing to brush your comfort on your wedding day aside so he can appease Tessa.
Yeah, and that's the part that kind of sticks in my throat here, is that it's just like he's going out of his way to please Tessa. And OP has a lot of valid complaints here. Like, she doesn't want to be sidelined. She doesn't want to feel like she's being picked, that there's some kind of competition between her and this other person on her wedding day.
Yeah, well, I want to feel chosen on that day, not like I'm competing for attention at my own wedding.
Mm-hmm.
OP, like, read that back to yourself. How often do you actually feel chosen in your day-to-day life?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a good indicator right there. Like, if this is like a constant, it feels like it's probably a constant issue. And reflect on that. If he is not willing to choose you now, nothing's going to change when you get married.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Saying That I Thought That My Sister's Wedding Was Immature and Trashy? And Amber wants to read this one.
My sister, a 26-year-old female, got married last month, and I, a 29-year-old female, thought everything went okay. She had a beautiful venue, but I thought her wedding was a bit trashy. Her dress was beautiful, if cheap. It was a midi dress with off-the-shoulder sleeves. I advised her to cover her arms because she's got patchwork tattoo sleeve on her left arm, and I asked her if she really wanted a mouse and a party hat or a cowboy cat in her wedding photos, to which she said, I think it'll look sick. She looked beautiful on her wedding day aside from her tattoos and the bit of rodent pee she got on her dress from when she insisted on taking pictures with her babies. Then for the reception she ordered pizza and had Walmart sheet cake. Why? So she could spend money on a bounce house and ball pit. I thought the worst part of her wedding was that she didn't allow kids to come to save money, and because, in her words, kids can be attention hogs. So I had to pay $100 for a sitter in addition to the $200 I gave them as a wedding gift. At the end of the night, she and a bunch of party guests ended up jumping into the pool at her hotel because she thought it would be fun, and bribed the night manager at the hotel to open the pool again so they could swim for a bit, which I thought was rude. So her wedding dress and her husband's suit was ruined from that. Yesterday we were going through the photos and she said she had the time of her life and everything was perfect. I mentioned that I thought it was a bit immature, and she said I was just a stick in the mud, and if I could let loose for 5 minutes, I could have had fun too. I tried to show her where I was coming from, but her husband stepped in and said that if I didn't have anything nice to say, I shouldn't say anything at all, and that even his 5th grade students knew that. I didn't say anything else about it, but what she said still kind of hurts. Am I the jerk for saying I thought my sister's wedding was immature and trashy? All right, what do you think?
So I think that OP is a little full of themselves here. I mean, I think that she has a point, and that maybe if OP let loose a little bit and had a little bit of fun, then it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, and they could have actually enjoyed themselves, right?
Well, and like she's soliciting this unprompted. It wasn't like the sister I was asking for feedback.
Yeah.
The sister was like, I had the time of my life and everything was perfect, and OP had to cut in and be like, nah, it was immature.
So the things that OP listed here don't really strike me as red flags. Like a bounce house, they had a bounce house. Okay, they had a sheet cake and some pizza. Like, not everyone wants to spend a ton of money on catering for their wedding, and I think a
Right.
sheet cake and pizza is a perfectly reasonable meal to have, right?
Exactly. Well, and like, I mean, a lot of people like pizza and sheet cake better than like really fancy stuff anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there's been some wedding food that I wouldn't have minded having a pizza instead
Oh,
anyways, right?
exactly.
And then the bounce house, like, sure, you could call a bounce house immature, but I mean, adults want to have fun too, and having a bounce house at a wedding isn't that going to be that big of a deal. It just sounds more like OP's upset that their kids weren't invited.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like one of OP's gripes. And it also just seems like OP is upset that her sister isn't the bride that she wants her to be, like
Mm-hmm.
not covering up her tattoos. Like, OP's sister got these tattoos for a reason. Like, of course she's going to want to show them on her wedding day. Like, it shouldn't come as a surprise.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make her look trashy. Like, just because they're not tattoos that OP finds tasteful.
I mean, it just sounds like she's not concerned at all about like the image of the
Mm-hmm.
wedding, right? And that she's more concerned about having it a celebration and having a good time than actually like having like the formal big white wedding.
It wasn't a Pinterest wedding. It was
Yeah.
she was more concerned on the memories and the fun than on having everything be a picture perfect standard aesthetic. Although honestly, like I feel like some of these weddings are more like are just as good like for photography as like your very posed formal weddings.
Yeah. And like jumping into a pool with their wedding dress, I mean, I don't think that that's that big of a deal. I mean,
I mean,
they had fun, right?
right. I mean, Mark's dress things are very common. Like you don't have to like it, but like again, it's your sister's dress, not yours.
Well, then OP also has the audacity to be like, well, it's a cheap dress. she probably planned on not really having the dress last that long anyways, right? So, like, sure, maybe destroying a wedding dress isn't like that great of a thing to do, or destroying any clothes isn't that great. But I mean, she can still hang on to the dress,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I mean, it isn't going to be the end of the world, and she can think back on it fondly. Or maybe she doesn't really like put that much value in the image of the wedding itself, and just kind of wants to have the memories from that time, right?
Right. So it's fine if OP didn't enjoy her sister's wedding, or if it's not the wedding she would have chosen for herself.
Mm-hmm.
But this was unsolicited feedback and basically trying to drag her down when she was talking about what a great time she had.
Yeah, what do you think of is it the brother where
The
the
husband.
husband is like, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
I mean, I think that's a very good point. Like, again, the sister was just expressing her joy, and Obi
Yeah.
had to come in and trample it.
Yeah. I think it's a little sad that she feels like OP should have been more mature or didn't. And like it's one thing to not enjoy someone's wedding. I think like not every wedding is going to be for every person, but it's another thing to come in and be like, you did it wrong because I didn't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
We are all going to have different tastes, and I think that that's important to recognize. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she allegedly has a joke.
Which candy is the happiest?
Oh, I can tell you which candy is the happiest. It's the Smarties. And the reason why the Smarties are the happiest candies is because being smart is happiness.
Sometimes, not always.
All the time.
Almond Joy.
Oh, I would say Mounds.
And
And joys have nuts. Mounds don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
it's World Emoji Day.
So make sure to go find some smiley emojis and turn them into Smarties. Or almond joys. Or mounds. Print off some edible stickers and put them on your almond joys, and then you can have your emoji almond joys.
Are edible stickers a thing? Like, I know you can get like the fondant, like printed fondant for like cakes and stuff.
Well, you
but...
can buy edible ink for your. You can get printers that print out edible ink.
Oh.
Yeah, and they can print off like pictures that you can put onto sheet cakes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know about the cakes, but I didn't know if they were like actual like stickers.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're stickers in the sense that they're sugar and so they'll stick to you.
Ah.
So I don't think like they're not meant to be stickers, but they will stick to things. That's what I mean in the loosest sense of the word of sticky stickers. They're edible. And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
I almost said Friday, and then I changed my mind at the last moment. So thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on weddings.
As long as it's not hurting anyone, let people enjoy their weddings in the way they want to.
I think so too, except for unless like you want to have a special first dance with your
Well, that's
best
why
friend.
I said not hurting anyone. I mean emotional harm as well as physical harm.
But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.